Welcome everybody to another show of the Heel Heat. This is a WrestleMania Backlash preview and predictions. I'm here with Benla, and I myself am Paulinho, and we have the champ.
Acknowledge me.
He's not the head of the table. This is a round table.
Acknowledge
a
me.
triangle table. This is not just so you know, and he
14
remembers.
months at this point, and I still ain't got my belt yet.
Remember, it's gotta get relabeled.
I know.
I'm holding it hostage.
Like I said, I should get that one, and that one should get retired because it was my title. I never lost it. I should get that one and get the new one.
All right, everybody, thank you for joining us. So SmackDown just ended. I was talking to the guys as I was on the Thunderdome, and I didn't really much enjoy the experience because of the fact that they tell you how to react. They're forcing you how to do it, and I get where they're going, but it ruins the whole aspect of natural reactions from fans and seeing if this person or that person has actual heat or not when you're forcing people to react a certain way. And granted, like we said in our conversations too, we had before we went on air, they are pumping the audio in, but the reactions that you're seeing from the videos is one thing as well. So with that, let's get started with our WrestleMania Backlash preview and prediction. It's going to be interesting here. So we have a lumberjack match between Damian Priest and The Miz. This feud has been going on since like freaking Royal Rumble. It needs to end sometime, bro. I'm just like, Damian Priest to get pushed up, because this is too much. Too much.
Well, funny you said that. It's a funny segue. Reports just came out today, actually, a couple of hours ago, that the company is looking for quote unquote fresh faces because of the fact that you have guys like Randy Orton and AJ Styles in the tag team division. They're looking to push fresh faces into the main event scene. And the two names that have now been dropped are Damian Priest and Aleister Black. So it seems like this feud is going to end relatively soon, and they're going to start really trying to position Priest in such a way that he actually looks like a threat to the Braun Strowmans, the Bobby Lashleys, the Drew McIntyres, etc., etc., etc. So let's just hope they follow through with this and they start really investing in the next generation, because apparently we were just a couple of years early, because now was something they want to invest in the new generation, quote unquote. So we'll see how that works.
And here's my issue with that. You had Andrade.
I don't think it's an issue as much as you're more of a fan of Andrade than the brass is.
No, the thing is, the brass has everything up their ass in regards to who they want to build, and don't push who they need to push. There's more than just Andrade. There's more than just Andrade. And we've had this conversation before. Like, the way they're using the mid-card titles is ridiculous. And
it's wrong.
And there's a waste of talent completely.
It's wrong. It's 100% wrong. And I can tell you that it's wrong because when they, that A&E series where they go and they find wrestlers' old treasures and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. One of Booker T's episode, he talked about the significance of the TV title and the people that held it and what it meant to hold that title back in WCW, and how much it basically transformed his growth and how the title basically made it so that he would be on the trajectory to be the multi-time world champion. That's how you're supposed to use your mid-card titles. They stopped doing that at this point. And for some and that's a part of the problem, because even if you have like an upper mid-card and a lower mid-card title, mm-hmm. where like you have the US title in WCW, but you also have the TV title. Mm-hmm. If guys like Booker T, Steve Austin, Ric Flair, those type of guys held the TV title on their way up to whatever other titles were there, that should tell you the significance and how you should actually be using some of these titles. They don't use them that way. The only brand that really uses it that way is NXT. Mm-hmm. Truthfully, and it kind of sucks. Because it's like, listen, as much as people talk about there's too many titles. No, there isn't. There really isn't.
When you have the roster that they have, you need more titles.
You need more titles.
There's too many pointless titles.
I mean, again, you have a program like Main Event, right? Which is basically your dark matches.
I was gonna get there too. Go ahead.
Essentially, your dark matches, right? But you have an entire internet presence that you're not using. So you mean to tell me you can't, like, it feels like Mustafa Ali and Ricochet are doing what you're supposed to be doing with these dark matches. And with the fact that this is on Main Event. So they're telling people to tune in. They're tagging Hulu. You're seeing it pop up all over Twitter. And then they're cutting promos based on their Twitter beat. So it's like, you have stuff like that. Instead of the TV title, why not the internet title? Why not the WWE Universe title? Why not the, like, you can play on that and just use those dark matches to rebuild or build guys. Because yeah, you're only gonna get 3 matches on those types of shows, but make those matches mean something. Like the Jinder Mahal Jeff Hardy match, nobody knew it happened, but it was a way to see if Jinder was ready to go back on TV or not. He looks fine. He had a couple of botches in there. It looked a little sloppy, but he was fine.
Usual Jinder.
Granted,
Usual Jinder.
Usual Jinder. Yeah, it's pretty run of the mill. You know, even though him cutting his hair is a whole other look that I'm not going to go into, but that's how you're supposed to use those titles. And they're just not using it. And that's a part of why you have so many people that were sitting there for so long before they got cut, only for them to bring in people like Eva Marie. So that's been my biggest beef this last couple of weeks, where it's like, you see, they understand the significance of mid-card titles. You see it in their other programming that is non-wrestling related. The legends talk about it. You've heard about them talking about the women's tag team titles on Total Divas, Total Bellas. They know how to market it. They know the significance of it. They just can't book it the right way. And it makes no sense to me. Because literally, if you're going to do all this weird stuff with these titles, instead of doing it with the Intercontinental title and the US title, who are supposed to be basically booked similar to what the world title is, if we're being honest, you have those other mid-card titles that you can just play around with and do whatever it is you want. You can do all the weird, goofy stuff. That's fine. That's part of what makes WWE entertaining, is the levels in which they go. But use titles that, again, don't mean much, but you put it on people that you say you want to build. You put it on people that you are like, we're going to put this title on them to see if they can be a champion at this level. Can they defend it? Can they handle the promos? Can they market themselves? Can they build themselves with this title? If they can't, then you know. If they can, then you move them up. Like, it's really not that hard.
For Vince, it is.
It's not rocket science. Apparently, with Pritchard on vacation, that's why the shows have been so good. Because literally, I heard the interview with Gangrel, and Gangrel was literally like, the reason why the Attitude Era was better was because everybody had a story. Whenever you were on TV, everybody knew what their story was and you had a story. As soon as he said that, what happened on Raw? We get the Andrade, Drew Gulak thing. Feelings about that aside, it's something. And then you get the little hints of the Mustafa Ali and Ricochet thing. You get a promo of it at least. So it's important enough for them to give you a promo to go, hey, go watch this on Hulu. I'm okay with that. Even they brought back Nikki Cross in a match with Naomi. But at the end of the day, they're finally, whoever's booking now is finally booking the way they're supposed to book. Where, yes, the whole show is not going to be cataclysmic. And the middle of those shows can be boring sometimes when you have meaningless matches. But when you actually put a story and you actually put segments together, and the way they're building the whole Drew Gulak, Andrade thing, the way they're building the women's championship and all those little, you know.
You mean Garza?
Sir.
Garza, Angel Garza, my bad.
They're Mexican. They're different. They don't look alike. They ain't the same, bro. They ain't the
Who did
same.
I say? Who did I say?
You keep saying Andrade. It's Angel Garza.
It's because you just mentioned Andrade. And I saw something about Andrade signing somewhere else.
Don't try and clean yourself up like that. No. It's okay, man. It's okay.
Because you said it. Anyway, Angel Garza. But again, they're building out his character. They're fleshing out his character. And the whole point of the program is to flesh out and see what do you have with Angel Garza. We all know what you have with Drew Gulak. He had his little run with the Cruiserweight title. If you really wanted to build him and do something with him, you can throw him down in NXT for the North American title. He'll be fine.
Waste of talent, but go ahead.
Again, you have to, it's not really a waste of talent per se, because he's not great on the mic and his character doesn't captivate people the way you can build a program around him. He's a supporting character at this moment. When he was the Cruiserweight champion, he put on great wrestling matches, but the character wasn't there. And it proved it when he was champion. You like to go from Leo Rush to Murphy to Enzo Amore, and you had all these entertaining champions, and then you had Drew Gulak, and literally the entire Cruiserweight division fell off a cliff. Why? Because he couldn't hold down the division. Sorry, not sorry. Like that's the truth. That's what happened. It is what it is. It's not saying that eventually he can't figure it out. You put him with Chad Gable and Otis, maybe you got something there. But you know, he's just not hitting. But a guy like Angel Garza, he hits. He does hit. The whole shoving the rose up people's stuff and down people's throat. Not really my thing. You know, it's not my thing. But it's something. You know what I'm saying? It's something. It's positive momentum. That's my biggest thing. It's positive momentum. And I think that's the biggest thing that we're missing from not having the lower mid-card titles. Because if all these guys are fighting and scuffling, but you got basically all your heavyweights in the mid-cards and in the upper card, everybody else has nothing to fight for. Give them something to fight for. I mean, probably you can't bring back the European Championship at this point, because now you have the UK title and the North American title. Bringing back the European Championship just doesn't make sense. Mm-hmm. Doesn't. But if you make a variation of the TV title, since you do own those rights at this point, if you do something like, you know, the Internet Championship or the social media, you know, something, or you do something like they did with the that cup, the cup that they have in what's it called, in NXT UK. They literally did a tournament for one of those trophy things, and he's defending it like a title. Do something like that. Hell, they hinted at the King of the Ring tonight. Bring back the King of the Ring and expand the tournament.
We spoke about that.
We've spoken about that a lot, but we should actually, they should name it the Peruvian Championship.
So you're just going to we went from regions to just giving it to countries now? Just giving it to countries out here.
Oh, yeah, bro. Come on. Have you had the Lomo yet? I'm just saying.
I don't even know what the hell that is.
It's a plate. Lomo saltado is a plate. It's very good. You'll like it.
Again, I've known like 3 Peruvian people in my entire life. And I think one of them cooked for me once when I was like 14. So I don't know why.
And they're all bad influences, especially Paul.
We ain't gonna go there. Leave it alone.
I'm not gonna answer that. I'm not gonna comment on that one.
Damn it.
You're not gonna comment on that one.
Continuing on. What are your thoughts of the match, of the Lumberjack match with Damian Priest and The Miz?
It is a way to build multiple things if it's done right. Because Lumberjacks are just heels and faces, and then you have a heel and a quasi face. Because Damian Priest is kind of face, but he also finished off being a heel in NXT to be a face, to fight Karrion Kross, to lose, to come up and be a face for Bad Bunny. So I think he's a face now, but his character is kind of like Val Venus meets
Diesel.
Diesel meets like American Badass Undertaker. Like, I don't know, like he's like a sexified biker. Like I don't really know what Damian Priest gimmick is, because now he's got like the colors in his braids and stuff. So I'm like, what are you
He's
supposed to be.
He's what they actually wanted the vampires from Twilight to be.
You know what? But that's the craziest thing is like, yo, tell me he wouldn't be dope in the Brood. Like he would be dope in the Brood if we could bring back some variation of the Brood. Like he's the type of dude that needs a faction. And he doesn't even need to be the face of the faction. He just needs a faction. I saw somebody on the internet introduce an idea of possibly Aleister Black using this whole, father thing to establish some kind of cult, because he keeps talking about all these lessons that he's not going to teach, people need to learn. But the problem is that the way Aleister Black's character is and the way Damian Priest's character is, they don't exactly line up. But if you can put him in a faction, it would help him a lot. The problem is the only people that would fit his character kinda would be Lucha House Party, and that doesn't make sense.
Mm-mm. He could fit a dark character like
he could, but you would have to do work to shift him to that darkness, is what I'm saying.
Right,
you can't present him. Yeah, you can't present him as he is now and put him in a faction.
No, not that kind of faction.
No. It's not like, again, if they would have added someone else to the Bad Bunny thing, then maybe. But here's the only thing that would actually make sense to me, honestly, is if you put him with Zelina when she returns, or if she returns, as the rumors state she may be. And then you make Zelina a little more Queens and a little less Mexico. You get what I'm saying? Like you play into the fact that they're both from New York and they're both Puerto Rican. You gotta play that up.
So you want the Puerto Rican to come out.
Yes, because they already established that Priest is heavily influenced by his Puerto Rican heritage with the Bad Bunny thing. So you use that.
It wasn't the flag that he was wearing on his pants, now, right? It wasn't that.
Listen, if that's how he want to rock and that's how they want to present him, then by all means. But I'm gonna use what they're giving me at this point.
I know, man. I know. I just
but give him something like that, because again, her and Andrade were great, but her by herself as a manager is still phenomenal. And she could, Priest can talk, but she adds a different element of swag to anybody that she manages. And if you're going to really push Priest, you got to make him feel important. And Zelina can make him feel like she made Andrade feel important. Because as soon as she hooked up with Andrade, which, funny enough, Andrade's old character in NXT is very similar to what Damian Priest is now. Very similar. When he had that whole like stone cold leather jacket and he was supposed to be the party boy or whatever. When he got with Zelina was when he got serious and embraced the whole Lucha Libre thing, and that's where he really took off. I feel like they could do something similar with her and Damian Priest and really start to establish him as a serious threat. The thing that's going to need to happen, though, he's going to have to win a mid-card title. And I think him being the guy to take the title off of Sheamus him being the guy to take the title, you can't do it because he's on SmackDown. And you can't.
Apollo?
Yeah. And I mean, sure, you could take it off of Apollo, but with how convoluted that picture is right now, you kind of got to wait for whatever outcome that is. And then you have to, either you're going to have it be on Sammy or Kevin, who you can have be guys to just flip the titles, because you can't put it on E and you can't keep it on Apollo. Well, you can keep it on Apollo. You just can't put it on E, honestly. But the issue with that then becomes, what do you do with Apollo now that you're building him? Like, do you just keep him in the mid-card and have him feud with Priest? And then you're going to have him get beat a bunch by Priest. And then you're going to have him offshoot into another feud to pull him away from the title, only to bring him back and probably have him win the title. You know what I'm saying? It's going to take too much work, too much gymnastics. So, but that's really the trajectory at this point. You're going to need Priest to win a mid-card title to see if he's actually legit before you move him up to the main card. But all of that being said, back to the match, I think getting a signature win off of someone like The Miz, who is especially in the mid-card of that pedigree, is huge. And I also think if they're smart, they'll use certain heels and certain faces in this match to further along several other feuds that they can pick up at certain points, or they can fill up the bottom of the roster.
Who's winning the match?
Priest, I just said that.
Okay. Benny?
Until today, I actually had the Miz winning this match.
You disrespectful.
No. I'm not. It's just, you know how WWE is. Damian Priest, aside from one match, and that was that handicap match that Miz won with his pants around his ankles. Damian Priest has won every match in this feud, except for that one. That includes victories over Miz by himself, victories over Morrison, victories probably over both of them, victories with Bad Bunny. I'm pretty sure he may have won a match against Maurice in there at some point that we didn't see, but there's a hot tub around there somewhere. So, I'm not going to say it didn't happen. It might have. But with the report that came out today, I don't think that there's any way that you can have Priest lose this match, because that goes completely against the idea that they need people to start building towards a stronger or a more robust main card. So unless you're going to say you're going to put the Miz back in there, which is ridiculous at this point, nah, it has to be Priest. Priest got to win this one. And I would not be shocked if the Miz Morrison act splits up eventually after.
God, I hope so.
So I also agree that this is going to be a Damian Priest win. I mean, it's got to end soon, and hopefully this is the ending. And I also agree that the Lumberjack match is a way to open up new feuds. Either on the main rosters or a main event, however they want to do it. I feel that's the way it's going to go, and that's fine. That's the way it should go. That's why you had the Lumberjack matches. You see, he's fighting Hat, he's fighting. I'm glad to see they're going to do that. I also heard that same report, and again, I also wanted to follow up on that main event thing. I think what they're doing little by little is trying to use the main event not just for dark matches, but to further some storylines to keep wrestlers intrigued, busy, and intrigue some fans into watching that. It makes sense, and I agree the TV title should come back, and maybe another one as well too. But let's see what they do.
Cough, hardcore title. Anyone?
Yeah,
it's not happening.
No.
I know.
I will admit, though, what was kind of interesting, though, is that I get this feeling that they're going to slowly transition away from PGTV a lot more now. Because if you saw,
networks are demanding it.
Yeah, because if you see how Jimmy is coming along now and his new shirt,
yeah,
that's not PG.
Yeah, not at all. I love it though.
Saying?
I definitely might actually cop that shirt because
that shirt goes hard. That shit goes hard. That shirt goes hard,
bro.
So I'm like, okay. I'm like, oh, you came out to that? I'm like, okay. And then I hear, I think it was McAfee. I think he's repeated it too. Oh yeah, I'm like, damn. I'm like,
and notice he whispered, he said, "Nobody's bitch," like just to make sure Vince didn't scream at him.
Yeah, I'm like, we doing this now? We do it? Yeah, we doing it. I'm like, okay.
Well, for what it's worth, they've actually been easing up a little, like recently, just because of the fact that like even on Raw, MVP has dropped bullshit a couple of times.
Mm-hmm.
So they're starting to ease up. I don't know if it's going to be a full return to TV 14 or if you're getting a change in the guidelines or what qualifies or what can actually fall into the category of TV PG.
True. Especially with you look at, one's on TNT, one's on Fox. People literally get shot, murdered, attacked on every other show. And there's been blood multiple times. So, I mean,
I've been watching Chicago PD on and off all day.
That's what I'm saying. You watch Chicago PD, I'm out here watching like Prodigal Son and whatnot, and dudes out here getting kidnapped, people's out here getting, freaking brain hemorrhages and whatnot. And I'm like, okay, this is what we're doing. Somebody's getting drugged and kidnapped and whatnot. I'm like, when we gonna bring back those storylines when people just randomly start getting kidnapped? That's what I'm waiting for.
Bro, I don't know, man. I started seeing a little more and more like they're like pushing away from it, and I'm okay with it because now it's like you let the stories be a little more real. And I was like, oh, they don't believe me, you don't like me. My video games, I'm like, bro, like I understand that happens, but the way they're writing it, I'm like, no. But all right, let's go to the next match that I think is going to happen. Is Bobby Lashley defending against Drew McIntyre on this one. Was Braun on
and
this
Strowman?
And in a triple threat match.
Why is Braun not on this one? Yeah, I must have missed his name on there for some reason. Yeah, triple threat between Bobby Lashley, Drew McIntyre, and Braun Strowman. Benny, how do you see this match going along?
Lashley retains. I believe that they start to play out the feud that was supposed to happen last year prior to injury, in which Jinder Mahal is actually going to attack Drew McIntyre. This will keep him somewhat looking strong going out of this. But I do believe he is the one that's going to take the fall ultimately. So what I'm looking at going out of this is Lashley either causes Drew to pass out again or he pins him because of interference by Jinder Mahal and these other two. Strowman is going to get taken out some way, somehow. So what you're going to get coming out of this is Drew McIntyre breaking off and going to face off against Jinder Mahal, and Braun Strowman continuing the feud with Lashley as a way to give them some time to get the rest of these guys that they want to put into the main card in place. So, long story short, I got Lashley.
Jay?
I too have Lashley, but I have a question.
What's up?
Where the hell happened to the rest of Retribution?
I killed them.
What do you mean?
Because they went from attacking Drew to just not showing up. So, again, I agree with Benny wholeheartedly that Drew's going to get attacked. That's going to continue the whole Jinder Mahal thing with Drew. But I do think Braun somehow takes the fall. Whether that be hook or by crook, I don't think it's going to be clean.
Oh, no, of course not.
But I also, my only real question in this is where does Braun go from here? And I didn't think about like continuing the feud with Bobby, but that's tough. Only because, I feel like we've seen it already.
We've seen it a bunch. We just haven't seen it for the title.
So it's just, it feels really stale to me because the elements of Braun is not only getting smaller, if we haven't noticed, so he's not as menacing. His skill set keeps changing, where that athleticism that makes Braun so freaky, they're not really displaying it as much. And it's just, he's basically the campier version of Big Show. So it's like maybe Drew takes. I think Braun's going to take the fall ultimately, but if Drew takes it, due to Jinder Mahal or Retribution or something like that, that would also make sense. But I'm really just wondering what the hell they're going to do with Braun Strowman, because Braun Strowman's involvement and subsequent next steps just don't make sense to me at all.
Here's what I heard. I heard
you heard something. Okay.
Yeah, I heard that he's gonna go into the bodybuilding competition, which does explain why he's been cutting back, getting more leaner. And
that could also explain why he's not doing all the athletic stuff, because he doesn't want to get hurt.
Exactly. I was just about to say that, because don't forget, he hurt his leg not too long ago,
and then he had the blood thing.
Yes, and apparently that leg injury they didn't want to say what it was, but apparently it was like almost career threatening. I think it was. They were saying.
Oh boy.
Yeah, I'm like, okay, what happened? If it wasn't like, if you didn't break anything, like
it might have been like the quad like almost tore off or something like that. And he probably had to go and get that repaired or something.
Yeah, so that's probably why he's not doing anything athletic, and that's why he's looking slimmer and trimmer, because he wants to do some bodybuilding, and it makes sense. He did the
which means he's going to have to step away, in essence.
Only for the shows. So only for the shows. So he's gonna have to do. If I remember correctly, the way it works, you're gonna have to do the shows to compete to get the invitation to go on the main. So depending on what show he signed up for to compete, I don't know. They always have shows everywhere, so I'm not sure which one he signed up for. But that's what I heard. In regards to this match, unless he's got to do one of the shows like after the pay-per-view, then if he does, they're probably going to write him off on this show.
Which means he'll probably end up passing out. He'll get knocked out. Yeah.
And they'll probably take Drew out. It'll probably be the Retribution boys, if not Jinder Mahal. I think Jinder Mahal, they're gonna wait.
I think Jinder Mahal makes sense.
It does. I'm not gonna lie, it does make sense, but I think they might wait on that for a little bit.
Maybe.
Because
what the problem is, it makes sense, so they probably won't do it.
Right, because like the thing
that's the craziest thing. Though.
What annoyed me tonight from SmackDown, when I got really annoyed, was they finally let Natalya and Tamina win. I'm like, why didn't you do this on WrestleMania?
Say it.
The crowd was there.
That I was watching. They Cultaholic put out a video going over Backlash 2000, and Backlash 2000 has my second favorite championship victory in history, and that was the Rock over Triple H, where Stone Cold came back and wrecked everybody with the chair. That right there was them making good from the Rock not winning the championship at WrestleMania like he should have. And this is exactly the same thing, not to the same level, because you're talking the WWE title versus the women's tag titles. But you're talking about the exact same thing. They're making good at this point, because there was no reason for Natalya and Tamina to lose that match on night 2.
Right. And here's the thing that got me. The fans are behind her at Mania, at behind both of those at Mania. Why didn't you give Tamina her WrestleMania moment, and Natalya, not just by winning it, but also Tamina's first title ever?
I think the brass kind of really wanted to, I think it's more so the brass wanted to put over Nia and Shayna, because they also had not been in front of a live crowd, so they really wanted to put them over. But again, it's one of those decisions that they think is good on paper, because they have no pulse on the universe whatsoever. And then when it happened, they realized like, oh, we messed up.
But here's my thing.
We got to fix this.
That's on second night. Like, how did you not realize the pulse from the first night when they won in that tag team gauntlet match? You get what I'm saying? Like, the fans are behind them.
I understand what you're saying, but you also have to look at it from the stance of like, they're thinking long-term booking. And it's like, okay, so if you have Natalya and Tamina win it at WrestleMania, what are they going to do after WrestleMania? you're just going to have them continue to feud and then do it again at Backlash. Like, nobody wants to see that. So
that's
stupid.
true.
I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying. Like, it is dumb. And I'm not saying that it was a smart decision. I'm looking at it from the stance of, like, these titles already are not that over.
Mm-hmm.
So to do something that big for those titles at WrestleMania would require them to have booked this so far down the line that they would already have requisite storylines to follow this up. You can tell they're making this up as they go for this title because they don't care.
And that's
a part of the problem.
That's the biggest problem.
I agree with that's a part of the problem, but that is why they went this direction and did it this way. Because one, the biggest thing for me that this showed that they had no plans to put this on a pay-per-view anyway. Because they know that this feud isn't something that a lot of people are invested in, but they know that these titles are being invested in by people who regularly watch the show. So they did what they did with like the NXT women's title, with like the North American title, where if these titles are going to change hands, you have to keep watching, even though some of it may suck. You have to keep watching because you know these titles are going to flip. You just don't know when. So that's how they're kind of trying to keep you invested in this. But again, I don't agree with the decision. The decision was definitely the wrong decision. But I can kind of see where their heads were at. It's just they need somebody in there to slap them in the face, like, yo, nah.
Like, and I agree, but the thing too is like when you said long-term booking is like even then, like what did they do afterwards? Nothing. You know what I'm saying? So it's like that's why I agree with you again when you said they don't know what they're doing. They're writing it on the day-to-day basis.
Not to mention,
annoying.
I get that. Not to mention, as much as I love this being Tamina's first title, you also still booked yourself into a corner. Because not only do you not have a lot of tag teams as is, like you're already scarce in terms of female tag teams, right? But now you're in a situation where you still have a monster and a technician. So who realistically matches up with them enough for you to say, hey, someone else can take this title? You still don't have that team. You still don't have those women. So now you're still stuck. Like you're still stuck. Because again, the only other person that you can kind of flip over to match up with them matchup wise would be Rhea. Which would be a colossal mistake. But you know, there's only Rhea and Charlotte physically that can even come close to Tamina outside of Nia.
Mm-hmm.
So Tamina's a little more manageable size-wise, but you still book yourself into a corner. By now, you don't have enough women to match size. So now you don't have any believable challengers at all.
You know, that was the same problem they ran into when you had Nia Jackson and a base as champions.
Right. That's what I'm saying. They did help themselves, and they've still booked themselves into a corner.
Yeah. All right, go back to the card. Unless you got something to say about this, Benny.
Not really.
Benny's just like
Benny just doesn't care.
He's pissed because he's like that should have happened at Mania. I don't care.
You're right. It should have happened at Mania. I've said my piece. Like
again, once they took these belts off of the Iconics for me is just when the belts went down. They just have not been the same since you took them off the Iconics. Because you stopped making it about tag team wrestling and you're shuffling people into the mix.
The moment they took it off of Sasha and Bayley. So, yeah.
The first time.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because remember, they were taking their plan was give it to the Iconics. The Bellators are coming back. They'll take it off of them. They'll have a little run. And then Nikki didn't clear her physical because of her neck. I'm just like, why do you plan that without confirming that she's actually has a physical and get in the ring?
Dumb.
You know
they're
why?
Dumb.
The exact same way that you sat up there and you squashed your WWE champion Kofi Kingston in 8 seconds to put the title on Brock Lesnar for a match with a guy who has a blown out ACL.
Oh yeah, whatever happened to Kane?
He got cut.
Kane?
Cain Velasquez.
Oh, bro. He got cut, but that was his own issue, bro. Like, and that's WWE too. It's like, why the heck would you sign the man before he even gets his surgery?
I don't know, man. But that's a conversation for another day. Let's keep going this card.
All right, we got Bianca Belair defending against Bayley. Benny, what do you think?
This is the match that I am the second most sure of, and that is 1,000% Bianca. It is way too early to take this belt off her. You take it off her, even if it is for Bayley, you are making a colossal mistake.
Jay?
I get this is trying to keep Bayley relevant, and I actually like what they're doing with the feud, more or less. But yeah, like you said, it's too early to take it off of Bianca. Like you still have to establish Bianca as a credible champion. But again, this goes back to my whole thing of who the hell else is in this division on SmackDown?
Oh.
Yeah, exactly. That's really what my issue is there's nobody to help build this title run for her. Like there's nobody that you can look at and be like, okay, who are your signature wins? You won it off of Sasha. Okay, cool. Bayley was obviously the second choice. I mean, who's next? Naomi, who's been meandering with Anna. Naomi has the credentials that she should feel like a big deal, but she doesn't. Oh.
She's on Raw. Well, you know what could and possibly should happen is, and this is something going towards like the SummerSlam season, is she's not doing anything on NXT right now but putting people over. Bring Toni Storm up.
Yes, but bringing her up simply to lose doesn't make sense.
No, that's what I'm saying. Do it long term. I'm saying going towards SummerSlam season and stuff like that.
I would more think Survivor Series.
If they're not going to do title versus title, yeah.
I mean, even if they're going to do title versus title, I think there's a way to book it where you have the whole interbrand thing, and that's the overhaul. But the problem is that it seems like they drop all of their beef and then they do the whole overhang thing. And I'm like, no. Don't drop the beefs. Do what they did with Seth Rollins. But Seth Rollins is like, no, I still don't like y'all. Like, no, I'm still not rocking with y'all. I don't care. And you have a situation where like Toni Storm attacks Bianca in the match. Oh, snap. Bianca's da-da-da-da. Whoever's the other champion. You have people who they're feuding with also intercede in the match. Where, yes, it does get messy. It does get certain things, but it also creates heat for the heels that are chasing those titles. If you were going to do that, if you catch what I mean. And then you have her win it, say, either Royal Rumble or right before Royal Rumble. So then you give Bianca that, like, push to be like, okay, we're going to have Bianca versus Toni going into Royal Rumble season. And then that's the time where Bianca pays Toni the same way Sasha paid Bianca. And you kind of have to do that.
Yeah, I had another name on my mind, but there's no way that they would bring her over. Kaylee Ray's been UK Women's Champion for like 700 days right now.
Right. And she's starting to get that respect in the locker room. Yeah. The problem I'm having is when you look at that division, who are you going to put the title on?
I don't know.
There's no one that's strong enough to put the title on just yet. They have some up-and-comers and they're building some people. So I can't think of the names right now, but I see the faces. So they have a couple of contenders. But if you do that, because Kaylee Ray is such a wrestling fans champion, you got to have her go through NXT.
That's why I said, because before I thought of Toni Storm, that was the name that was on my mind. I was like, there's no way in hell she goes past
unless you're going to do it where you do a Kevin Owens, John Cena situation, where you bring her over as UK champion and you bring eyes to that again, you try to still bring eyes to that product. Because again, Walter's been champion for like 2 years. Like he's having a Bruno Sammartino run over there. So it could definitely be a thing. That's my biggest thing with this match. It's not so much this match. It's I don't even remember what pay-per-view is next for the main roster.
Money in the Bank.
Money in the Bank.
Ooh.
You got Money in the Bank, and then hold on, I had it right here. All right, so this is
probably Extreme Rules.
June 20th is Money in the Bank, July 18th Extreme Rules, and August 22nd SummerSlam.
I hate Extreme Rules. Like I seriously hate that pay-per-view. I hate it with like I just hate it.
They need to get rid of it. It's unless
they
you
need to bring back Unforgiven or Armageddon.
Yeah, unless you have a hardcore title, you don't need Extreme.
You don't need Extreme Rules. And Extreme Rules just sounds like a campy version of saying a hardcore match. I'd rather you just say Extreme Rules, hardcore Extreme Rules match.
Yeah.
Or if you're gonna say Extreme Rules, that means we have to have several different matches with Extreme Rules, not an Extreme Rules match. That's why it pisses me off. Because if you're gonna have a pay-per-view that says Extreme Rules, then we should be having Inferno matches. We should be having casket matches. We should be having I Quit matches. We should be having, kendo stick on a pole match. Like you should be having those weird, obscure, crazy off the wall match types where like people are willing to like jump off Titantrons and whatnot. But basically what NXT In Your House was.
Yeah, here's my thing. Keep the main pay-per-views, Royal Rumble, SummerSlam, Survivor Series, and those are the 4, right?
Money in the Bank is a fifth.
I say, why did you not say WrestleMania?
Money in the Bank and WrestleMania. Thank you. I was like, I'm forgetting something. Golly. Sorry, my mind's like wandering around like everywhere right now. Keep those for the year. You got to have Money in the Bank. Money in the Bank is your get out of jail free card. So you have that to have that. The other pay-per-views, you rotate the names.
Yep.
You
like there's no reason why you bribed Cody to get his last name back to get Bash at the Beach, and you're not using Bash at the Beach.
Yeah. You can use that in July.
That's what I'm saying. Instead of using Extreme Rules, why not Bash at the Beach? Oh wait, no. I think Bash at the Beach is NXT now.
No, In Your House is at NXT.
But I'm saying they're probably gonna have a Bash at the Beach.
I'm not sure. But
either that or Great American Bash.
Where I'm going is like you can do December, you can do either Armageddon or Forgiving. Or Armageddon prepping for Royal Rumble. I think one of you guys said it. And then in February, do Unforgiving, which is a like something happened in Royal Rumble where it's Unforgiving, on the road to Mania.
That it is WWE WrestleMania Backlash. Whose idea was that?
I don't know. Probably Bruce Richards.
You know what?
In the words of LeBron James, whoever thought of that needs to be fired.
That is 1,000% a management move. It's branded. That's literally all it is.
It's stupid.
It is stupid. The thing is, it's them for some reason thinking that they need to explain the meaning behind the word backlash, as if we don't know the backlash is from WrestleMania.
I think because it is going to be at Tropicana, and I don't think that they're going to have a new set.
No, not Tropicana.
It's not?
No, they moved out of there. They moved out of there. It's at the Yingling Center. It's been there since after Mania. They left it.
So if you're not going to have the whole Bucks Cannon thing, why the fucking dog piss are you going to use the WrestleMania theme? Because you're going to have to use the same decoration.
I told you why.
I don't know. That's what I'm saying. Like they need to just be like, okay, this year these are the main ones. It's never gonna change, and we'll figure out what we're gonna use. But unfortunately, that's too much slow burn writing, thinking ahead, and just like that. So yeah, and I also agree Bianca Belair because it's way too early to take a title off of her. She
literally just won the title a month ago.
If they've been doing with the SmackDown title is what they need to do with the Raw title, but do it correctly. They haven't done it correctly. Is long reigns, and if it's not a long reign, make a significant reign, a dominant reign, even though it's a short one, maybe like 6-7 months, but make it at least dominant. Where like, okay, it wasn't hot potato for after a little bit.
Right.
You know, and
but again, you also have to look at, you may have to at this point, the problem with revamping that division though is whoever you bring up, you're setting them up to lose.
Mm-hmm.
That's the problem, and you can't introduce a new person that you're calling up. Well,
you can, but like then you have to remember who's on the shelf: Lacey Evans, Becky, Ronda.
Two of those people are Raw people.
I'm just saying on the shelf on both.
No, and I get it, but I just had an idea because this person was supposed to debut again. They pushed their debut back another week. Mia Yim.
Hey.
And Mia Yim is the type of workhorse. And if, her character plays so well off of Bianca Belair because they are so similar, but they're not similar at the same time. Like Bianca's a little more, I hate to say it, high-class black, and Mia Yim's a little more hood. But that dynamic works. It works. For a feud, it definitely does work. And it allows you to, again, flesh out the character while having it in front of between two diverse individuals, and you're creating two stars in the process, much the way they did with Raquel Gonzalez and Mercedes Martinez. So, and because Mia Yim technically isn't new, you could get away with her coming up and being Bianca's next opponent and losing.
Did she get her name back, or is she still reckoning?
No, she got the
Mia Yim
the names back.
Oh,
Got the names back.
Wait, Slap Titty and Mace got their name back?
No. Slapjack and Mia Yim both got their names back.
Oh, okay. So what is Slapjack's name? Like Sean something?
Yeah, Shane Thorne.
Shane Thorne. There we go. That's what it was. Yeah, good luck with that one. And again, you know who's still on the shelf that they need to put in a tag team since you need more tag teams? Buddy freaking Murphy. Put Buddy Murphy and Shane Thorne in. I'm sorry, that's a little racist because they're both Australian, but they're both high flyers. They're both high impact. They both have been in successful tag teams before. You might as well use them.
You know what else you can do? You can call AOP and be like, listen, we're sorry. Bring your asses back.
Well, they're injury risk. I don't know about being sorry. They're injury prone. Like they're terribly injury prone, actually. And you don't have a manager for them. And if you don't have a manager for them, they're not going to work. Unless you want to give them to Seth Rollins and actually pull that whole thing, because then you'll have the bloodline and those guys, and that'll be one hell of a feud for the tag titles. Whenever you decide to aim Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns' direction. So, I mean, that could work. But then again, you signed way too many people in developmental. You signed way too many people in developmental to add to the roster at this point.
Yeah, don't forget they're going to do that whole new NXT developmental too as well.
Yeah, that's another one.
Yeah.
I'm still trying to figure out if I actually want to watch that or not. I might
watch it for like a month or two.
Just to kind of see what they're going to do with it.
Yeah.
Because I think it's going to have like more of an evolved feel to it, which I don't hate. But they said it's going to be like just matches and not commentary. And I don't know if I can follow wrestling like that. I just can't do it.
Yeah, that's why I have trouble going to live events, because there's no commentary. Like, tried it a couple times. I'm like, I'll say the NXT when they were on the road is much better because like you're so close to the action.
Yeah,
it's like being in like in a high school pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like you're there, so it's like it's not that bad. You know, and I won't even tell you how much the ticket prices were before.
We're not gonna talk about that. We're not gonna talk about that.
All right.
No.
Let's go on to this next one. Dirty Dawgs defending titles against the Mysterios.
Remember how I said there was, like you said, there were some other things in the works that have to do with a bunch of other things. Mm-hmm. Apparently, the long-term booking for the Roman Reigns Uso storyline is for the Usos to win off of a babyface team, and the only real babyface team at this point of any significance is Mysterio and the Boy. So I'm firmly behind the fact that Mysterio and the Boy are going to win, probably via roll-up, honestly, since they can't, for some odd reason, it doesn't seem like Dominic can wrestle long enough to have a finisher or a signature or an identity, really. But I firmly believe that it's going to be Dominic like going over on Dolph Ziggler, just because the feud is mainly between them. It's not even like Bobby Roode is just there and Ray is just there, but this feud is supposed to be to build young Mysterio. So I think that that's going to probably be either the majority of the match or the story where young Mysterio finally gets the clean win and not like some shenanigans, hopefully. And we may actually see a finisher, hopefully, from this man who is 24 years old and needs a finisher or at least a signature that's not a 619. But I digress. But yes, I'm going to go with Mysterio and the boy.
Benny?
Same. I have the Mysterios. But to correct something, Dominic does have a character. He's Ray's father, right?
Well, it was funny.
His chauffeur.
And Eddie's son.
Pretty much.
I would love to see him pull out the Three Amigos at least. I mean, maybe his finisher is supposed to be the Frog Splash because of Eddie.
I guess.
But I mean, come on. Just come on. Give me something else. Just give me something. Like I want to see him wrestle something outside of like arm drags and hurricane ranas. Because that's literally his entire skill set.
I need to see that again.
Hmm?
I said let him do the 5-star frog splash because I need to see that in action again.
Yeah. Something.
Yeah, I agree. The Mysterios are going to win this one because of the fact that what we all heard and already. So I just don't like the way they're winning matches right now. It's just annoying.
I just don't like Roode and Ziggler being a tag team.
Oh, neither do I. But I just don't like the way. I just don't like the roll up wins. I'm like, okay, I don't like that. It's annoying because now you're making it seem like they're barely winning. Like you're barely winning. Like that's cheap.
Not to mention, like again, they have this kid get worked over the whole match, and then pulls out a roll up, and it's like, come on, dude.
You know what it reminds me of?
If you're gonna make him look strong, make him look strong.
You know what it reminds me of? When the B team broke away from the Miz and actually became the B team and just started winning by accident. Yeah, that's what this reminds me of.
Yeah, what the hell happened to the B team? Because I don't think Curtis Axel got cut.
Yeah, he did.
I believe, Axel.
He got cut a long time ago. Well, Dallas just got cut. He just.
Dallas.
Here's a story. Here's a weird story about him. He was cut because they forgot that he was still on the roster apparently. Because when he was gone, he's like, oh, I need some time away, and then he took his time off, and then they was like, hey, you ready to come back? They're like, no. He's like, no, I need a little more time off. And then like they're like, oh wait, he's still on the roster? Oh, sorry, you're cut. I'm like,
oh, we're still paying you?
Yeah. He was like that guy in the basement from the Office space. Or The Office.
He was what was he doing? His farming and his real estate with Liv Morgan?
Yeah, Liv Morgan.
Yep.
Crazy.
Yep. All right. On to the Raw women's title triple threat match. This is annoying as well. Rhea Ripley defending against Asuka and Charlotte Flair. Like, this is the problem I had when Andrade said that women in the locker room were jealous of Charlotte Flair. They're not jealous of her because of her last name, all that stuff. They're annoyed because she keeps getting thrown in these type of matches. For what reason? You just came
she's
back.
Never there to put it, and it's like she has an issue with putting people over.
Exactly.
It feels like she has an issue with putting people over. Because I would love this match. Because I would love to see a situation where Rhea Ripley, like, say for example, Charlotte's in like a submission from Asuka, and Rhea Ripley hits a move off the top rope and pins Charlotte a la the way she got pinned by Io Shirai. I would love to see it.
Yeah.
Love to see it.
Oh yeah, because that's the thing. Same thing Batista said. He's like, he saw this. He's like, Asuka jobbing. Like, what the fuck?
Because that's what it feels like. It feels like Asuka's just there to take the pin.
She is. I mean, if you don't think so, you crazy.
Here's my thing, and here's what I would love to see, which means it's not going to happen. So this is just me. You can tap the screen if you want. This is my fantasy booking. This would be the perfect time to bring up Io Shirai. Because Io would be the perfect person because of the history she has with all three people in the match.
Benny tap in the screen.
That's what I'm saying. I know. I understand. I know. But it just makes too much sense. And it would allow for Charlotte to get a pass for taking the fall. Because again, Io wouldn't really have an issue with anybody else in the match but Charlotte. Because even though she beat Charlotte having an issue with Asuka, and Asuka and Io having the relationship that they have, and Charlotte keeps calling herself the opportunity. Why not have Io take the opportunity so that you line up that rematch down the road between Io and Rhea Ripley? That makes sense. Probably won't happen. That makes sense.
No,
that being said, I'm still going to go with Rhea.
Happen just that has nothing to do with WWE. I think Io has just been going so nonstop for the past year that they're just going to give some time off. And I think the same thing is going to happen with Asuka.
Yeah, she took time off. She said it already.
Yeah, I think the same thing is happening with Asuka after this too.
So again, then it would make sense for Asuka to take the fall.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the thing is, I would rather bid another one-on-one match.
Oh no, for sure. Like,
you know what I'm saying?
That goes without. I didn't feel like I needed to state that.
Yeah, because this is annoying because of the fact Charlotte just came back and she's a reigning title picture.
And it's a situation of, I love her new character, I love it, but it's that Sasha Becky thing, where like, are you gonna bring her back just for her to take the fall? I don't think so. You did that with Sasha, and it did not turn out well.
No,
I don't think they're gonna do that with Charlotte. What I think they should do is not tell Charlotte and then Charlotte get rolled up. That would be hilarious, and have Charlotte have like a Bret Hart level meltdown in the middle of the ring. That would be funny as hell. Or they do like a Montreal screw job type situation where Rhea has her in like that stretch muffler that she does, and she doesn't tap and the ref calls her. That would be lovely. That would be chef's kiss. And they literally can just be like, why are you always being a crybaby? And they could just have Charlotte have an absolute meltdown.
That'd be great.
That would be fucking amazing.
Fucking A, man.
Especially if it's from that same ref. The ref that screwed her before. She calls it.
Yeah, that would be great.
That would be amazing.
So pretty much we're all in agreement. It's Rhea Ripley retaining.
I'm not quite sure.
Whoa.
Controversy.
Betty. What are you talking over there?
All right. Here's my thing with this, right? You remember when I said that Bianca was my second, the match that I was the second most confident in and sure that it was going to go the way that I said?
Yeah.
This is the match that I'm the least confident in, because we have a very, 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 very big, I mean tiny, but very big and quite beautiful elephant in the room by the name of Alexa Bliss. That I'm not.
I forgot about that.
Because
my god!
Targeting. All right. I don't know who she's going after.
Bro, that would be perfect. And it keeps everyone clean.
Yes.
It keeps everyone. That they might have actually given themselves a get out of jail free card.
Bruh.
And because Rhea's already pinned Asuka, it's not that big of a deal if Asuka takes the pin again.
Here's what I'm thinking. All right. Everybody seems to be pointing towards Alexa Bliss using her voodoo magic to go after Shayna Baszler. All right. Yeah.
Right.
Her ventriloquist, whatever, Lily hurting, Shayna
I want to know
Baszler.
what they're going to do with that. That's going to be interesting because it's not an alter ego for Alexa. It's actually a completely different entity.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm wondering what that. I wonder if that'd be funny. She just threw the thing at her and she drops. Yeah.
What's the name? Like I said, everybody's talking about her targeting Shayna Baszler because Shayna, quote unquote, is the one that she took out in the match. She caused her knee to buckle or whatever, and that caused them to lose. But they never actually said, or Alexa herself never actually said, I'm going after one particular person. She just said, Lily has her eye on one of you. Now, the thing about the one of them is that Asuka was out there, Charlotte was out there, and if I remember correctly, Rhea was out there, although I don't think she was in the match. So all three of the competitors within that match are in this match right now, on top of the fact that Nia and Shayna just lost the tag titles. So what exactly is she targeting them for, if that's the case? So, like I said, you have this massive wild card in little 5 feet of fury and anger and fire and brimstone and everything that she is now. And I honestly have no freaking way to really just conceptualize where we're going with this one. Because you have a couple of different ways that you can actually go with this. All right. Number one, Rhea Ripley. Rhea Ripley is one, the women's champion, two, eliminated Alexa Bliss from the Royal Rumble. Two, you have Asuka. There was no real major beef between the two of them, but they did have several matches that Alexa was literally beating the living shit out of Asuka a couple of times during those matches, and I don't think they ever actually really ended. And then you have the Charlotte factor. Number one, outside of kayfabe, of course, you want to have the two of them eventually face off. The other side, inside of kayfabe, Charlotte made it a point to point out Alexa Bliss in her little "I'm back" promo when she started calling out the women's roster. So like I said, I have really no freaking idea where this thing is going to go, but I have to lean on the WWE train of thought that Charlotte wins, LOL. And I hate myself for it.
Here's my question to you, though. Is she just winning the match?
I don't think so. I think Alexa is clearly getting involved in this match somehow.
No. Remember, it's a triple threat match. There's no disqualification.
Oh no, I thought he was asking was
so
she just
you
winning
can't
the match
do
clean
that
or anything
whole
like
is
that.
she winning a match but not winning the title? You can't.
Oh, she's winning the belt. I firmly believe she's winning the belt.
If Charlotte wins this title, I'm gonna be pissed.
The other thing you have to actually pay off is whatever's going on between Charlotte and Sonya Deville.
If Charlotte wins this title, I'll be pissed. You just put the title on Rhea Ripley.
I know. And
you hot potato this damn belt.
Let me tell you why I can see this happening. Because the situation is not the exact same thing as it is with Bianca Belair. In this situation with Rhea Ripley was choice D when it came to that matchup at WrestleMania. That match was originally supposed to be Charlotte versus Lacey. Then it was supposed to be Charlotte versus Asuka. Then it was supposed to be Charlotte versus Asuka versus something. I forgot exactly how the match was supposed to go. But then the whole thing got screwed up with the medical team telling Charlotte that she was pregnant and she had to get pulled or whatever.
That wasn't part. There was also the whole point with her. No, there was also the thing with Andrade.
Yeah.
So I'm saying
something about her having COVID too.
Yeah, then it was her having COVID and all of this other stuff. So it's just like there was so many different things that were happening. And if you look at Rhea Ripley right now, Can you tell me that the Rhea Ripley you see on TV is the Rhea Ripley from NXT?
No.
I don't even think.
And apparently,
Rhea
she's
Ripley
taking acting classes.
I don't even think the
her
Rhea
promos.
Ripley on main roster has a character outside of her name.
Right.
She does not feel like the same person that we have down in NXT that was just show up, kill everybody, and leave. So, like I said, I'm looking at it as they put the title on Rhea because they wanted to have another title change at WrestleMania. Maybe they wanted to do a make good for having her lose the belt last year to Charlotte and admitted they were wrong at that point. But now the whole original plan was to put the belt on Charlotte anyway at Mania. So I guess they're just going to do it now. That's the train of thought that I think they're going to do. But again, that massive wild card, I hope I'm wrong too. I hope I'm wrong too. But again, that massive wild card with Alexa, that is just throwing everything off with me.
Which, again, I like that because I like the fact that Alexa could use this point and it would actually make perfect sense for her to use this point. And she was just someone I forgot about because of the fact of I still associate her with the Fiend, and for the Fiend to jump into a title match doesn't make sense.
Mm-hmm.
But hearing what I'm hearing about the Fiend, it actually makes sense that they would do things a little bit different with Alexa Bliss.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. And I don't think her aim would be a title. So I don't think she goes after Rhea Ripley.
All right, so now I've pissed Paul off.
If they do this, I'm gonna reach out to Andrade and I'll be like, I'm gonna DM him on IG and be like, and this is why the women's locker room does not like your wife. Has nothing to do, bro. They've been married, bro. They've been married. They say they're engaged, but they've been married. This is why they don't like your wife. Because this woman just came back and she's got the belt.
And she takes it off a young star. Like it's very
yeah.
It's very yeah.
It's very John Cena-esque.
Yeah, I didn't want to invoke the name, but yeah.
Oh, I'll invoke it because it is. He killed what's that Nexus? That Nexus run. Mm-hmm. Murdered it. You know, I forgot what other he killed Bray Wyatt's run as well. What else? He has a bunch of stuff. I don't even want to get into it yet. There's a lot that he killed. It was like, but you know what I mean? So if they go this route, they're pretty much playing hot potato with this belt, and they're pretty much cementing the fact now that they don't know what to do over in that show on Raw compared to SmackDown.
Mm-hmm.
It's been said already for like I don't know how long now that SmackDown is a better show.
To the point where they've started putting in promos now.
Yeah, but when you're playing hot potato with that main title already right now, you're cementing that fact even more. Because at that point, what was the point of putting Rhea on Mania? To give her a WrestleMania moment to be like, oh, we're sorry we messed up your Mania moment last year.
Well, she wasn't supposed to debut until after Mania anyway.
True, but why give her that WrestleMania moment just to take it away on the next pay-per-view?
You know why? Because they needed to have a title match.
There was no
point. They
point.
needed to have a title match, and I don't know why they
you
decided to put her in that position, but that's just what they did.
I would have rather than put somebody else in that position, to be honest,
and then have them lose to Asuka. That would have been the thing to do.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. There's literally like the only other person that probably would have been there would have been Naomi.
But you had a giant gauntlet match.
Oh, by the way, that fatal four-way that we talked about for the IC title is on SmackDown. It's not on Backlash. So the Intercontinental title is not going to be on Backlash. Neither is the US title.
Nice. And I say that as sarcastically as possible.
Just side note, but continue. I'm listening, Paul. My bad.
Yeah, it's annoying. I'm gonna stay with Rhea Ripley retaining because of the fact that's what they should be doing. But again, like Benny said, this is the Raw side. they don't know what they're doing.
Yeah.
So I'm not disagreeing that what Benny said is a possibility. 75% that might happen, but I'm leaning on the 25% that they're not going to do that, and they'll be smart and they'll let Rhea win, and Asuka takes the pin and she's going to be written off the show, giving her a break for a few months. You know. All right. We are now on the show on the last main event. The head of the table defends against the King of Swing, Cesaro. Benny, what's your take on this one?
Okay, so this is the match I am the most sure about. Now, what I am going to say to preface this, all right? You remember when we did our WrestleMania predictions and I said that Cesaro versus Seth Rollins is probably going to be match of the year? Mm-hmm. I lied. This is going to be the match of the year.
You think so?
Yo, let me put it to you like this.
They match a lot better than Cesaro and Seth do. I'll put it that way. Their styles do really well together.
This match has... Cesaro needs absolutely no help having a damn good match. He has a damn good match with damn near everybody. All right. Now, the thing is, every single match, regardless of how I feel about how they're portraying the finishes for those matches with Roman, every single match Roman has had since he has turned heel has been an absolute banger. If I had Meltzer's rating scale, I would throw it out the damn window and create my own, and it would be a 7-star match. Every single one of them.
It's going to get to 10 at one point.
Except for the one that Kevin Owens was the last man standing there, because that was fucking stupid with the handcuffs and everything. That ruined everything for me. But of course I have Roman Reigns winning. But this match, they are going to give you absolutely every single idea and hope that Cesaro can pull this match off. I think this match is going to be very near fall heavy. I think that at some point you're going to have some type of a ref bump and Roman might give you another tap out moment because he tapped out in Mania. He tapped out to Daniel Bryan the month before. You might end up having another situation where Cesaro has him in the sharpshooter and he taps out to that. That may be my own sharpshooter headcanon because that is my favorite finishing move ever. But like I said, this is going to be one hell of a match. I'm really not interested in this pay-per-view outside of this one match. And I'm like, yeah.
Jay, what's your thoughts on this match?
It's an open and shut case. I think it's going to be a banger. I agree, but I think Cesaro gets choked out. I firmly think Cesaro gets choked out. But I think that this whole run is the company's way of saying, okay, you've been saying it for years. Everyone's been saying it. They say that you can be a main eventer. So prove it. Prove it. Prove it. Can you handle the spotlight? They're not going to put the title on him, but I think this was one of those prereqs of like, is he going to be a mainstay in the main event or not? And I personally think he's gone above and beyond and more than solidified himself.
He's been ready.
I mean, I can't say he's been ready because, again, the biggest problem he's always had has been the promos. But this is why I was so angry when they took Talking Smack off the first time. Because where did this start? This started on Talking Smack where they let Cesaro just cut a freaking promo and see if he can cut a promo. See if he can cut another one the next week. And then you put him on TV. Can he cut a promo? Can he go back and forth? Can he make people believe? Can he have everyone rally around him? You put him with Daniel Bryan, who is obviously the babyface of babyface. And the reality was Daniel Bryan put over Cesaro and Roman on his way out.
Mm-hmm.
Gave them both the rub that they both needed. All they have to do now is finish the race. But I think in defeat, Cesaro is going to solidify himself as a mainstay in the main event. I think that's the biggest thing. And with the fact that the big changeovers that's supposed to be happening on Raw, I wouldn't be surprised if there is a brand split at some point and Cesaro does move over to Raw where he can actually win a world title.
Right.
Because I don't think as long as he's on SmackDown, as long as Roman Reigns is on SmackDown, that Cesaro will win a world title.
Yeah,
but with the way that the WWE Championship is set up and the guys that have recently been winning it, I think Cesaro has a chance because he fits in well with the Drew McIntyre, with the Bobby Lashley, with those kind of guys. He'd actually be a better fit in that triple threat match than Braun Strowman is. But I digress. And Braun Strowman would be a better fit to, again, face Roman because their styles are a little bit better and the way they play off each other is a lot better. That being said, Cesaro has been nothing short of brilliant. And I hope and pray that this definitely does keep him in the main event scene for the company in general. And this proves to the company that he can and is a top guy. Right. That being said, I think Roman Reigns chokes him out.
Roman wins. And I will say this will be the first match that he wins without a help. Because of the fact that remember we had this conversation. Remember I said Jimmy was going to come back, and in order to maintain this storyline, they needed the friction. Because you can't have him fall in this storyline and then follow along, and then you have nothing. And then it's like now you have the storyline ahead of the table just kind of ends, and it's like Roman. No, you need that friction to maintain the storyline. Now you have it. Now, as you saw today, Cesaro just beat the crap out of Jay, and Roman just stood outside. That's gonna come back to haunt his ass on Sunday, and Jimmy's gonna be like, "Look, man, he don't care about you. Yeah, it's for the head tail, whatever, but he don't care. It's all about him." That's the whole conversation about today was. It's all about you. It's all about you. So I see something happening where Jay is not going to be there to help him. And what's going to happen is Roman's going to finally have to win this match on his own.
Mm-hmm.
And he will. And it's going to be a banger. So it's going to be one of those where he has to win on his own. So, yeah. He's gonna choke him out. I agree, but again, it's one of those where he's on his own. He's gonna prove that he can win a match on his own. You don't need Jay.
Right.
I think this is it, and it's gonna suck because he's doing it against Cesaro. But
I
again,
think that there's no better person to do it against.
Right, because you couldn't do it against Daniel Bryan because you had to give him. There are certain people you can do it.
There's a size difference.
Right.
You can do it against a guy like Shinsuke. You couldn't do it against a Big E because of how you see Big E. You definitely couldn't do it against a guy like Apollo Crews because, again, size difference. Cesaro, it just fits the mold because he is, again, they're building him to be dominant enough to take out all three guys.
Mm-hmm.
But also his reputation is such that it wouldn't be surprising for him to lose at all. And you're not invested enough in him to be like, oh, he should have won the title.
Right.
It's like, no, he's going to lose, but he's proven enough to be like, no, he's a serious player.
Right.
And he's validating what the fans have been saying about him for years. He's validating all of it.
Mm-hmm.
Benny, what are you thinking? Because you're scheming over there, and I know when this is ball, you're scheming.
I'm not scheming so much as I'm thinking worst case scenario. Because Paul just said that the two of them, like Jimmy and Jay, are gonna have they're either gonna have some friction with each other or they're gonna have some friction with Roman. I don't think Jay's gonna have any friction with Roman. Jay's got his ass handed to him, and Roman just watched forever. That doesn't bother me. What I think is Jimmy is going to try to get involved. I'm not Jimmy. Jay's going to try and get involved. Jimmy's going to stop him. And then, again, hang with me for a second.
Mm-hmm.
The two of them take each other out of the equation. And Seth Rollins takes out Cesaro.
Again, I like it because it creates the friction between Roman and Seth.
Mm-hmm.
It adds to that where he's like, why are you in my business?
Yep.
Like, we're not the boys that we used to be. Why are you in my business? I don't need you. And then Seth can always go like, you've always needed me. I've never needed you, but you've always needed me.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's the whole, like Seth's the one that kind of unites the bloodline, where it's like, you know what? I'll acknowledge you, but it's not going to be the way Jay did, where it's not going to be like you bend the knee. It's going to be more of like a handshake of like, all right, we're family. This month is doing the most. We need to put away all our BS and just, you know, go about it. I just don't want it to be dragged out like 3 pay-per-views the way it was with Jay. Like that was annoying.
I doubt it will. I doubt
that shit was so annoying. Especially because after the first one, I was like, okay, he's gonna go win the Intercontinental title. Nope. Turn him into a bitch. I'm like,
if it goes past Money in the Bank, I'll be annoyed.
And the reason why I say this is, and I say this as worst case scenario, is because I don't want them to have, like, I don't want it to be Seth interferes in this match to pull Cesaro completely out of the main card. I don't want that to end up happening. So that's my fear and why it is, and I'm saying worst case scenario. I would love the feud to turn to, you know, Roman versus Seth. That fuels my own agenda from way back to the Royal Rumble when I said Seth should have came back as a babyface at that point. But
that was Seth's call, actually.
Yeah, then
they wanted to bring him back as a babyface, but that was Seth. That was like, nah, I'm not done yet.
He's an asshole for that. But we established that when he was talking about some other stuff on Twitter not too long ago. But
yeah,
it is what it is.
Yeah.
I just don't want to see Cesaro fall out of the main card after just this one showing, because I know he's going to show off and show out.
And
I think it'll be very, very reminiscent of like, I think this match is probably going to remind me a lot of Johnny Gargano versus Adam Cole.
Yes.
Where I think if Seth does interfere, I think Cesaro completely takes him out. And Roman tries to get the win, but then Cesaro gets like this crazy kick out, and then they keep going and keep going. And then Roman eventually does win. But I don't think he'll win because of the distraction. But I think the distraction could definitely occur because then it allows you to pivot in the feud for either guy.
What I would like? You know what I would like? Do you remember how each and every one of us felt when Kofi almost won the Elimination Chamber?
They're gonna put the heartstrings like that.
I think that that would be like my ideal into that one. No interference whatsoever. Cesaro goes out there and gives his absolute all, but just cannot put Roman away and just comes up short.
I see him putting a sharpshooter on Roman and getting either super kicked or.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about with the Seth Rollins interference, because I think that if he gets interference, that's how it's going to be. I can literally just see Rollins and his infinity boot just coming out of nowhere.
Yeah.
But what I would love to see though is that when Roman tries to take advantage, like you get the roll up, or you get him like his legs taken out and it goes into a swing, and then that's when he gets back into the sharpshooter. Like that whole thing where it's like the distraction is there, but it isn't like you can't look back and like, oh, it's Seth didn't. Yeah, it's not something you can blame it on.
You know
what's
gonna be
you
funny?
got over the distraction.
You know it's gonna be funny if Roman wins this match on the damn freaking roll up, pulling the tights. It'll be annoying,
I
it'll
wouldn't
be
even
funny.
find it annoying because again, people have to realize that Roman is still a heel.
No, I know. It's just the reason why I say it is like you want this match to end like in a pinfall or submission, and they're gonna have it end like in a.
I don't even want it
roll-up
to
with
end
the
in a
whole-
pinfall. I
Not
don't
even
want it
that.
to end in a pinfall. I don't even want Cesaro to tap. I want it to be that Drew McIntyre, Bobby Lashley thing where he literally fought to his last breath, and
And he
Roman had to
passed out.
damn near kill this man to take him out. Where it's like he just completely slumps, and it's like they can't go on because he slumped.
Yeah, because I don't know about you, but when I saw that at Mania when Bobby had it and he just something like I was like, yo, like I mean that was a good way to end.
That was
the
one of
match.
those like you fully expected Drew to break out, and then he just passed out. It was like, oh shit.
Yeah,
Like,
it kept him strong.
Yeah, and it was just like he didn't tap. Like it wasn't like I give up. It was one of those like, yo, you damn near tried to kill this man.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I kind of like about it. And you can do, and that's the thing, you can do the whole interference even after the match.
God
You could
damn
do
it, Jay!
something
Stop
like
making
that.
me book shit in my head.
Say it, man.
But
say it.
that's what I'm saying.
No,
Say it.
it's just the
Say it or hold your
ending
tongue.
to the ending to the match. What I want to see it because I'm trying to visualize Jay's vision, and I can see it just because of the fact that Cesaro is such a freak of nature when it comes to how strong he is. Say Roman has him in the guillotine on the ground. Cesaro starts to power up and starts to get this man off the ground. And he is almost to his feet. He gets on his feet and just collapses.
Yeah. I honestly feel like that would be a great way to end the match because literally at that point, you're not making Cesaro look weak at all because you had to literally damn near kill this man to beat him.
Mm-hmm.
And it also makes Roman look like a better champion because he's been taken to his limit multiple times now.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like when the person finally who does beat him, it's like they have to have some serious reserves.
Mm-hmm.
And they got to drag Roman into deep water.
Mm-hmm.
And it makes it that much more satisfying, but then it also makes the title look more important.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like if they're going to do it, that's how they should do it. But I do like the Seth wrinkle because you can pivot and you can have it where it's that ambiguous, like multi-person title scene that is loosely connected because of different things that keep happening.
Mm-hmm.
But no one's really friends. Like there is no allies. It's just everyone's coming after the champion, but I don't like you because of this. And me and the champ have this history, but this is that and the third. The thing is does anybody know what show Aleister Black's on?
He's been advertised on SmackDown, but they haven't made the decision.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it'll be a while. It'll be a while. I mean,
I think it'll be a while, but then also you have that swing guy in Kevin Owens that if you need to pull him up to the main roster, to the main event, you could.
Yeah.
He's kind of that swing guy.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to think like who else is in the main event outside of those three, because you don't just want it to be those three guys. You kind of want to, like the way I forgot when everybody just kept coming out to challenge for the title. I think with Bobby it was. He just had random people that just kept coming out. It's like, oh, he's technically a main eventer. This is what we're doing. Okay. Like you had the random Baron Corbin thing.
Yeah.
Like that's what I'm saying. You got the random Baron Corbin thing. You still got Shinsuke. Like, are those guys main eventers or are those guys mid card guys? Like, what are we doing now? Especially with Shinsuke now taking the crown from Baron Corbin. Like, is this going to be the way that they move Baron Corbin up? I don't know. I hope so.
This is also one of the reasons why I hate the fact that AJ Styles is in a tag team, because you could very easily throw in AJ Styles versus Roman Reigns match together if AJ was on SmackDown.
Right. But I think a part of the reason why they want new faces because they don't want to keep doing that.
Oh yeah, yeah. The other thing is I don't know how AJ would feel about working with Paul Heyman at this point right now. So
yeah, and that's another big thing.
Yep. All right, everybody. That's our preview and predictions of WrestleMania Backlash.
With a couple of heel rants in there, because
Yeah,
that's just how we
That's
are.
just what we do.
it's just what we do. It's just what we do. Don't forget, like, subscribe, follow us on podcast, YouTube. And
I think we're on that what's it called? Not Tidal, the other one.
Anchor.
Anchor. There we go.
Yeah,
we're on something with water.
We're on Anchor, Spotify, iTunes. We're like everywhere. Look at Anchor and you'll find us somewhere. We're around on podcasts, the main podcast ones. All right. Thank you for joining us. Until next time. Laters.